Welcome into another edition of Where the 99 Lead. It's a program about the University of Pikeville where we talk about those historic 99 steps that lead to campus at the University of Pikeville. They also lead from campus into the world, and those graduates take the experiences and those classroom times back into the world with them, changing our world. Today we talk about one of the newest majors at the University of Pikeville, that being the Spanish major. And I'm Andrew Joyce, joined by a couple of special guests. They're members of the teaching staff, the faculty in the Spanish department, joined by Ella Smith, Assistant
Hello.
Professor of Spanish. Welcome.
Thank you.
To Where the 99 Lead.
It's good to be here.
I didn't ask for a translation before we went on. Maybe we need that for Where the 99 Lead. We'll work through that.
We can work through that. Yes, we will.
Also, David Roby, Assistant Professor of Spanish. Welcome to Where the 99 Lead.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Today we talk about the University of Pikeville. We talk about one of the newest majors at the university, and it's an exciting time. We've talked about growth at the university. We've talked about a new master's program, of course, at the university with the MBA program. That's been added recently. Also, the RN to BSN program at the university. That's exciting. Also, the Film and Media Arts major that's been added. Now the newest of the bunch, the Spanish major. Before we go there, I want to learn a little about you too. As faculty, maybe your students don't even know some of these things. We're going to bust the bubble today.
Okay.
And students that are tuned in, let's find out a little about Ella Smith.
Okay. Well, I think it is important to my students to know that I'm a local gal. I grew up in Clintwood, Virginia, which is just on the other side of the Breaks Interstate Park.
No, exactly. Dickinson County.
Dickinson County, exactly.
Sure.
So I went to elementary school, high school in Dickinson County in Clintwood. And quite frankly, if somebody had told me when I graduated from high school that I would be a Spanish professor, I would have laughed in their face because it was not even on my radar. I wanted to teach. I didn't know what. And I had all kinds of different items on the list of potential careers, but Spanish professor was not on there. So I went to college at UVA Wise, which is on further across the mountain in Wise County, and kind of took different classes, experimented a little bit with different majors and things like that, and ended up as a Spanish major and as a history major. Didn't do the education bit, so I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do.
Right.
And one of my professors really pushed me to go into graduate school. So I went to The Ohio State University, which is kind of treasonous in this area, I realize.
It absolutely is, especially when you add the unnecessary "the" to the front of that.
I know, but I had to as an alumni.
Sorry,
right?
just a little jab.
No, I know.
And I know
It's
you've
okay.
gotten that quite often.
Oh, quite often, yes, yeah. But I take it all in stride.
Sure.
But I got my master's degree in 2006 from Ohio State. How's that?
That's better.
And came down here. Pikeville, I had been past Pikeville certainly, but it was a completely new area and a new adventure to me. So I was very excited when I went online for the job listings and I saw an opportunity at Pikeville College. I'm very family oriented, and I was really glad to be able to have the opportunity to come back and be an hour away from my family.
Yeah, it's very, very close.
Yeah.
Ella Smith, when did you have your first Spanish class?
First Spanish class, oh my goodness, was probably back in high school in 1997.
Okay,
maybe.
so you did have some background in high school.
A little bit, yeah. Serious study in college, though.
Sure, absolutely. And of course, it does turn up a notch then. David Roby, let's talk about your background. Where do you come from?
I am originally from Morgantown, West Virginia.
Ah,
and
another one of the most hated for some in this area with the WVU folks.
Little bit.
Yeah. Morgantown, West Virginia. How did you arrive in Pikeville? Let's talk about your history and how you got here.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm not Hispanic. Most people think that I am because I teach Spanish. I'm actually 50% Italian-American. My mom's family came over from Italy to live in north central West Virginia.
Right.
To work in the coal mines.
Absolutely.
And the glass industry. And I've always loved languages. I've always been fascinated with languages.
Right.
My grandparents had an Italian textbook on their shelf, and my grandmother and grandfather would often read things to me from it and try to get me to repeat the phrases. And they teach me little words, some nicer than others.
Sure.
And also I became interested in Spanish by watching Sesame Street.
Ah.
And I just really loved language, and I wanted to learn Italian, but it's typically not taught in the public school system. So I took Spanish when I was in the 9th grade, and that would have been 1986 or 87, I don't remember. And I just immediately was good at it. Like, I didn't have to get good at it. It was just a gift. I don't know why. It was like, okay, this is what you're gonna be good at. Wham! It just like God just went boom. I was like, okay, Spanish. And
numbers come to some people that way.
Yeah,
a lot of
exactly.
folks, math comes very, very easy to them, and their brains are wired that way. So you've got the gift of languages.
Yeah, exactly. And numbers, not so much.
Sure.
But I just continued to study it through high school, and I went to West Virginia University. I continued to take it. I got my bachelor's degree in '97 in Spanish with a minor in history. I started my master's program right after that. I taught there for 3 years as a grad student.
Right.
In '97, as I first became a Spanish teacher, and I got my master's in linguistics. After that, I decided that I wanted to continue to do this, so I went to the University of Texas at Austin.
Right.
And so I lived in Austin, moved there, and I got my PhD in Hispanic linguistics. Continued to teach there, taught at Texas, loved teaching at Texas, great place. Extremely hot, miserable place to live. Yeah, it's like 150 degrees every day.
Right.
I also taught at Austin Community College there, and which I really, really loved. That was a blast. And after that, I taught at Penn State for a couple of years.
Sure.
And then that was before I came here, and I was looking for a place to go. Where am I going to work next? And I'm looking at the job lists, and I see Pikeville College.
Right.
And I remembered learning about Pikeville from I took a West Virginia history class when I was an undergrad, and that's how I knew about Pikeville, because of the Hatfield-McCoy feud.
Absolutely.
And I said, well, I don't know what's there exactly, but I'll go ahead and apply. And,
David Roby, it started out, liked Spanish, wanted to learn to speak Spanish, and just it came as a gift. Now the West Virginia history, you hear about the Hatfield-McCoys, and boom, you're here.
Yeah, it can't be by accident. There's no way.
Absolutely. We're glad you're here, Ella. We're glad
Thank
you're
you.
here. And you're tuned to Where the 99 Lead. It's a program about the University of Pikeville, brought to you by the University of Pikeville. We talk about the newest programs, the MBA program, the master's program, first ever in the institution's history. Also, we talk about majors in media and fine arts, the RN to BSN program. Those are new. This is even newer. It's the Spanish major at the University of Pikeville. And Ella, if you would, let's talk a little history of the Spanish program at the university.
Well, when I arrived to Pikeville College at the time in 2006, I quickly became a quick hand at learning what it's like to run a foreign language department all by yourself. I had been in foreign language departments where there were several faculty, several staff, and saw kind of the intricacies of that. And then all of a sudden, this entire program landed in my lap. So I arrived with a program enrollment total, beginning, intermediate, and advanced, of about maybe 30, 40 some students. It was really small. And it was a good size to start with. And as I continued to teach, I was here for 4 years, and I just really kept trying to recruit students into our program.
Right.
At that time, we had the BA-BS distinction, where you could take 2 semesters of a foreign language to get a BA and a degree, or you could do the alternative laboratory science additionally to the one that's required. And then we had the minor curriculum, and that was their program. So we had a handful of minors. And we ended up getting the dual enrollment agreement with some of the local high schools to bring students onto their campuses.
The dual credit program.
Dual credit,
We've heard
exactly.
a lot about it.
Yes. And so that's a booming program now. So they came onto campus initially with Spanish, some math courses, some science courses. And like I said, we just kept enrolling students and recruiting students into the program. I stayed until 2010, and I realized I needed to get my PhD.
Right.
And so I went back to Ohio State, started my program in foreign, second, and multilingual language education. Did my coursework. That's when David came in and joined us, and he kind of picked up from where I left off and kept recruiting students. And
are you too the faculty of the Spanish major?
yes, we have doubled in size.
Yes,
we are a 2-person program now.
But with a growing program, I would imagine one person, 30 to 40 students, challenge, but what you needed to be able to grow.
Exactly.
Now as it continues to grow. How many Spanish majors are there at the university?
Right now we have one. We just started this fall, so
Right.
we have students who are enrolled in the minor, and we have one student now who had already started to take the courses,
Sure.
had most of his coursework out of the way, and this year he is getting his the core requirements for our program taken care of.
Okay.
So we're just a couple of weeks old, and we'll already have an alum come June.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
It's in its infancy, obviously.
Yes.
And as new majors will be, they have to start small. You don't start with a quarter of the campus taking that particular major.
Right.
But Spanish, I can see, will be an important major at the university as the
Hopefully.
world changes around us, as Eastern Kentucky changes. Let's talk a little about the curriculum of the program at the university. What makes up a Spanish major?
Well, essentially, you want to go ahead and continue? We've got 3 different levels of coursework.
Sure.
We've got the basic skills courses, which are 111 and 112, which was part of that BA-BS distinction.
Right.
And then we had 2 intermediate courses, which are Spanish 221, and 222. And then we get more into the meat of the major itself. So we've got courses that we've added, courses in Hispanic linguistics, written and oral expression, grammar and composition, which are required for the major and minor. And then we get into more elective courses, which are going to be Hispanic cinema, for example, issues in the contemporary Spanish-speaking world, and refer to my cheat sheet here just a little more. We have literature classes that we're going to offer, and just really a wealth of different. We really wanted to beef up the curriculums, that way we have more than just these core classes, that
Right.
students can have a broader experience.
If someone is involved in a Spanish major, what other type of special classes might they be involved in, something that takes them into the world in a real life setting?
We're looking at. We also have special topics courses.
Sure.
That we will offer. Not exactly sure when, but in the future. For example, business Spanish, medical Spanish, translation. People are always looking for a translator. Courses like that are just that you can tie in with a specific field. And what we're also going to do is we'd like to maybe set up different tracks, or even just have them right now just combine, say, a Spanish major with another major.
Right.
So a business major, you combine that with a Spanish major, that makes you a lot more marketable, and you can work in a lot more places. For example, criminal justice, that's another major that'd be great to combine Spanish with.
Sure.
If you're in law enforcement, you're going to run into Spanish-speaking people. If you want to work for the Border Patrol, you have to pass like an oral proficiency exam in Spanish. Anything like in the medical field, it's always useful
Absolutely.
to know Spanish. If somebody, if somebody's trying to tell, if you want to know like where does it hurt, and that person, or what's going on, the person can't tell you that maybe they have some type of medical condition or something, and you don't know, they might be difficult to treat, and that's serious business.
Yeah. It's life or death.
Yeah.
We're the 99 lead today. We talk about the newest major at the University of Pikeville. That's the Spanish major, joined by David Roby and Ella Smith, the assistant professors of Spanish at the University of Pikeville. Newest major, newest program, still growing, and we see more students in the program every semester, I would imagine. We talk about special topics, and we talk about Spanish, foreign languages, and I think a lot of us that have been in college, even in high schools, in a college prep type setting, foreign language was required. You must take a foreign language. I'm not sure how seriously some of us took that, and most of us wanted to learn the phrases
Right.
that we could use in everyday world. But Spanish, foreign language, as a career choice, and from a liberal arts standpoint, why is it important?
Well, I think a lot of it, David's already touched on, you've already
Sure.
touched on, Andrew, that, from the job standpoint, it does make you so much more marketable as a potential employee, being able to, get that information and share that information in a venue that's going to be important to clients. Being able to tap into that cultural information that could make or break a business deal or what have you. In the social work scene, for example, knowing the family and cultural beliefs and traditions and things like that, and being able to tap into that information is going to help you be a more successful practitioner of your field, right, of your discipline. From the liberal arts standpoint, it's a really fantastic way through foreign language study to learn more about the world and to learn more about the cultures that exist outside of your own, and to learn to appreciate your own culture. I think that by learning another language, another culture, you come to realize, more about what you believe and how you see the world.
We want to talk more about a major, minor situation, maybe a business, some of the career choices. We want to talk about that more in detail in just a little bit in the program. A question just came to mind. You've been involved in Spanish and in teaching since when?
Since 2004.
How much has the world changed in Eastern Kentucky, Central Appalachia, and in this region of the country with Spanish-speaking people from when you started teaching?
From when I started teaching, I remember as a child growing up, most of the faces, most of the languages that I heard, the dialects, the accents, were just like mine. Essentially we were a sea of white people, pretty
Sure.
much.
Absolutely.
And ever since I was a kid, just growing up an hour away from here, the area has diversified monumentally.
Right.
I did some research for one of my classes, and just in Central Appalachia alone, which is Eastern Kentucky, southwestern Virginia, part of West Virginia,
Sure.
northern Tennessee, I think the Hispanic population alone has increased from 2000 by 70+%.
Right.
So I mean,
Right.
just the opportunities to interact with people who use the language are just incrementally
Absolutely.
more opportune.
David, you've been teaching since when?
1997.
And the same type of experiences as you see. You've been all over the place.
Yeah.
In Texas, obviously, you encountered a lot of Spanish-speaking individuals.
Oh, certainly.
I would imagine that number lessened when you got to Penn State.
Yes.
Yes, and now Central Appalachia, the number even more less.
Yes. Obviously, when I was in Texas, the majority of the Hispanic people there are they're of Mexican descent.
Sure.
And in Pennsylvania, the largest Hispanic group there are Puerto Ricans.
Right.
And in central Pennsylvania, there are a significant number there, but obviously it's not Texas.
Right.
So, and as you get into more areas like, say, like Harrisburg, York, Lancaster, places like that, and then toward Philly, go east, then that number increases.
Sure.
But yeah, I came here. I noticed that there weren't a lot of Hispanic people here.
Right.
I tried to meet as many as I could, as quickly as I could. But I do notice there are more of them here than one would think. First of all, I've done some demographic research.
Yes.
The population, since every decade, every time the U.S. Census is taken,
Sure.
there's been a significant increase in Hispanic population. And right now it's at 16.3%.
Right.
And in Kentucky, I think it's over 3%. I'm not sure exactly. I forgot the number, but since the last census, since 2000, from 2000 to 2010, Kentucky had a 122% increase in Hispanic population, and that was the fourth largest of any state in the country. Tennessee, which is our neighbor,
Right.
they were third.
Wow.
So, and I looked at other numbers. The Annie E. Casey Foundation, that's a child advocacy group, they count the number of children
Sure.
of different ethnicities in different areas. And I looked at county by county, and I looked at all the Pike County and the surrounding counties, and Pike County had a sharp increase, like year after year after year, in the number of Hispanic children. And Floyd County, a significant increase, not as sharp. The other counties, most of them they've had an increase, even if it's just a little bit.
Right.
So they will grow up and they will have kids.
Absolutely.
And so on and so forth.
It's a changing world.
Yeah, it is.
And we are diversifying every decade, and even on a yearly basis, as you talk about in Pike and Floyd County, our most immediate counties. It's Where the 99 Lead, brought to you by the University of Pikeville. We talk about the University of Pikeville, all things. And I get to talk to some interesting folks. And today we talk about a Spanish major. And we touched on briefly potential careers in Spanish. And obviously criminal justice, that's a major that's there now. The RN to BSN program, the nursing program at the University of Pikeville, very strong program.
Right.
But I could see where it could be extraordinary for someone that, obviously, if they're going to practice here or if they're going to travel any at all, the Spanish-speaking population outside of Central Appalachia is even larger. We're growing. We're getting there. but I could see where there are huge benefits. I could even see, as you were talking, there's a communication program at the University of Pikeville, Media and Fine Arts, and I can see a benefit of having a
Absolutely.
Spanish major or minor along with that program as well. Let's talk about some programs or majors that will work well with this major or minor.
Well, we think certainly that Spanish is a perfect standalone major,
Sure.
just to be able to learn about the world. But we do recognize that a lot of our students are going to want to double major. They're going to want to package it with another major.
Right.
I mean, we talked about criminal justice. We've mentioned social work, the RN-WSN, the communication programs,
Right.
the film and media arts. Gosh, they're just really, you could combine it with any major.
Just about.
In some way, form, fashion, shape, anyway, to get the unique experience. We really want to serve our students and to be able to meet their needs, and that's where the special topics courses come in.
Sure.
Oftentimes, where we can get that broad base, but we want to be able to tailor their curriculum and their learning to what they're going to need.
Sure.
So whatever career they're going to be in, we want to help them.
And the translation. I would
Yes.
imagine there are jobs anywhere you want to work, and they will pay you whatever you ask.
Even here, especially, legal translation. I've had numerous phone calls from lawyers and different people, law offices and different people, and they'll pay you pretty well.
Yeah, it's just there's certainly a need there. We hear about, I think most recently of the medical school, and we hear about the need for private practice physicians. We hear about the needs for nurses, and certainly those are important in Central Appalachia. I would imagine that this is just even more so because they just aren't there. The translators, commercial air service coming to our area very soon. I can imagine as travel is better, we're going to see that more and more so. Potential careers, we talked about criminal justice. We talked about the nursing program. Let's talk about what the reaction's been to some of the current and prospective students as they're learning about the opportunity. They're learning about the Spanish major, the dual credit program.
Right.
Those students that are out in the high schools now that are starting to think about their future. You said when you were in college, you kind of experimented, took a little of this. Some of our students, they plan out their career from the time they're in their early years of their high school career. As they hear about this program, what's the reaction been to those students, current students at the university, and prospective students?
Well, we've had students in the past who were part of that, who just took a couple of Spanish courses or who were part of the minor program, who really said, man, if we just had that Spanish major program, I'd be on board.
Sure.
I want to teach Spanish. I really want to help make it part of the culture in Eastern Kentucky, Central Appalachia. David could probably speak better to the reaction on campus as, we were working on the major program. You were working with most of the students here.
Oh, yeah, already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been nothing but favorable reaction. I mean, the students on campus, a lot of them, it seems like as they realize that there's a Spanish major, as they're thinking about it, they become more interested. And a lot of students that I've had, they're a little farther along. They're juniors, seniors, and like Ella says, they wish they could have taken it. They wish they could have doubled up or majored in Spanish. And I just noticed, on the street, just talking to people on the street. I'll talk to, for example, I'll go to Velocity Market or someplace like that. I'll talk to someone's mother, and they'll say, I wish I want my kid to learn Spanish and take Spanish in high school and to be able to, so he'll do better in college or whatever. So it's just been nothing but positive feedback from everybody. I think the more we establish everything, the more we I guess decorate our wall in the hallway and stuff and get our bulletin board up and everything. Once we get everything the more we work at it, I think it'll just over time the interest in it and the passion, I think, will be exponential. The exponential increase.
We're going to bust your bulletin board wide open today.
Fantastic.
One TV screen and one radio at a time. We're going to let folks know about the Spanish major. That's what we're here for. We're the 99 lead. It leads to campus at the University of Pikeville, and it leads to a brand new major, that being the Spanish major. I'm excited. I recognize our world's changing in Central Appalachia. We're diversifying. We're seeing more Spanish-speaking individuals come to our community, and we welcome them. Now, we have to be able to interact with them. I can imagine, I've sat and thought about some of the different careers, and that number just, it explodes in my mind. I keep thinking of careers and businesses that will need Spanish-speaking people in all parts of their business. I think about banking. And
Right.
how many banks have Spanish-speaking individuals that could translate for someone who comes to our area and they need banking services? We've talked about law enforcement, and you touched on, but not a lot, we need Spanish teachers.
Exactly, and that is a huge program that we have in our pipeline, and it's part of the research that I'm doing for my PhD program, is really trying to improve in any way we can the foreign language system here in Eastern Kentucky. We have folks out there who are doing a fantastic job,
Sure.
but they don't always get the resources they need, the support they need from their schools. And unfortunately, we don't have as many teachers out there as we need
Right.
in the area who are qualified to teach the foreign language, whether it be Spanish, French, German, what have you. And so our program is University of Pikeville Spanish Teacher Education Program, UpStep, and it's not formed yet, but
Right.
it's something that we've got on our vision board, if you will. And so we really want to collaborate with the Department of Education here on campus, and just get that program tailored specifically for teaching Spanish. And eventually it might expand to other foreign languages,
Right.
but we think Spanish is the big need here
Sure.
in our area. And so we want to work on language skills. We want to work on education in diversity and cultural issues, and preparing teachers who can be culturally responsive to that diversifying population. And we really want to be able to provide opportunities for current teachers to be able to have those continuing education opportunities that
Right.
they need, so they don't have to travel all over the state. They can stay right here in Eastern Kentucky.
Ella Smith, Assistant Professor of Spanish, David Roby, Assistant Professor of Spanish. They are the faculty of the Spanish major at the University of Pikeville. That's what we talk about today, the newest major on campus at the institution, and that being the Spanish major. I can see this program growing exponentially. Now, in our high schools, let's go further, middle schools, elementary schools. I've heard recently that there are kindergarten classes that, as part of their daily vocabulary, they're given Spanish words as part of their vocabulary. How will that help those students as they get to a high school student taking a Spanish class?
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Well, that'll help a lot. I mean, the more exposure, the better. I mean,
It starts soon. You mentioned earlier when we were talking about background, picking up some Spanish from Sesame Street.
Oh yeah.
And the television's a powerful media.
It really is. I mean, just learning I learned how to count to 10. I mean, just
Sure.
boom, like that.
And now Dora, the Explorer,
That helps.
very popular, and also a lot of Spanish speaking going on there. More about the Spanish program. What have we missed, Ella?
Oh my goodness. What have we missed? I think we just have we really want to. I think our big goal is to foster a culture of cultural awareness,
Sure.
of love of language learning. We just really want our students to become more proficient in the language,
Oral proficiency. That's what we're shooting for.
exactly, and to become more fluent, to be able to know what they want to say and how to get it out of their mouths, right? To make that transition from here to here. And I think a lot of students have struggled with that because they've had a lot of, written practice, but not so much a lot
Right.
of spoken practice.
Yes.
And so we've got our language center that just is new this semester as well. That we're having some classes in there now, but we want to be able to have tutoring hours in there, conversation hours, and just really try to bring that all together for our students.
I'm just a good old boy from Central Appalachia, born and raised here. I have enough trouble getting English to go from here to here. You think you could do something for me?
We can try.
We can try.
The Spanish major. Maybe that's where I need to head.
It doesn't matter what a person's English sounds like. It doesn't. It's not an excuse to not be able to learn Spanish.
Exactly.
There you go.
Learn about the world. Anybody can do it.
David Roby, Ellis Smith, Assistant Professors of Spanish at the University of Pikeville. That's our newest major, Spanish, the major. It can be joined with some other majors, and I can see some exciting careers. If someone is interested in a Spanish major or minor at the University of Pikeville, who should they call? Who should they get in touch with, and how so?
Either one of us, obviously.
Just contact us.
Yeah.
David Roby at upike.edu.
Yes.
Ella Smith at upike.edu.
Guys, thanks so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you,
We
Andrew.
appreciate it.
Buenos dias.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
There you go. Ella Smith, David Roby, the faculty in the Spanish major at the University of Pikeville. I'm Andrew Joyce. You've been tuned to Where the 99 Lead.